Good evening, everyone. Robert Brother Blaze Murray here. Wanted to talk to you very briefly. I'm not going to hold you all long this evening. It's Monday night. Some of y'all are watching the New York Midgets play football tonight, or attempt to play football tonight anyway. But I wanted to talk to you all about the weekend's activities in sports, which brings us first to boxing. Boxing. We had for a lot of people, a much anticipated um, fight between Canelo Alvarez and Jermel Charlo, one of the Charlo twins, Jermel Charlo in particular, who moved up two weight classes, was moved up two weight classes to fight Canelo Alvarez in an attempt to dare to be great. To dare to be great, moved up two weight classes to fight one of the most popular, most well-known boxers in modern boxers, and one of the biggest names in boxing. And before we get to that, because that's of course the main event pay-per-view fight that took place last Saturday. One of the undercards was fight between a light middleweight fight between Erickson Lubin and Jesus Ramos. Jesus Ramos is 22 years old, was the taller, bigger fighter. The young boy looks impressive. He looks impressive, and I mean, there's a bright future ahead of him. He has talent. He has tools. The one critique in watching him fight was sometimes the stance is a little too wide. Stance is a little too wide at times, and there are times when if you some you can get. I mean, the person he was fighting, it was a smaller guy and didn't really take advantage of that because you get caught with too wide a stance and you get popped. You're gonna lose your balance because your stance is too wide. You're gonna go down. So somebody's gonna, if that's not correct, then somebody's gonna catch him with something nasty one day and put him on his diaper, and they'll learn. Sometimes that's how we learn. We get knocked down. But Jesus Ramos and Erickson Lubin, and what was not a very entertaining fight. I mean, Ramos was basically imposing his will for the majority of the fight. And, for a few rounds, he wasn't on attack mode as much, but none of it was an okay fight, but it seemed to me like a one-sided fight, and it seemed like Ramos clearly, clearly won that fight. And this is the reason why you don't leave it up to the judges, because it looked like he was basically whipping Lubin's ass for most of the fight. I rarely gave a round to Lubin, so it goes the distance. They go to the scorecards and comes back a unanimous decision for Erickson Lubin, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me! What fight were they watching? I mean, in my personal opinion, I think Ramos got rocked. I believe the next day was Lubin's birthday, and they damn sure gave him a gift because I do not see how he won that fight. He was an older fighter. I believe he was 37, and Ramos was 22. And Lubin, this is a statement fight for him. He didn't fight like it was a statement fight, in my opinion, but I believe he's wanted to prove that he's not a gateway guy. Like he's one of the top dogs in the division. Okay, how else is he supposed to feel as a boxer if you take yourself and your craft seriously? He's supposed to think that way. I just don't think he fought that way. Don't see where he really commanded or controlled the action in the fight. I thought Ramos landed the harder shots. They gave him a birthday gift, in my opinion. I don't think he won that fight. At the worst, At the worst, maybe a draw. But Ramos, I think, got robbed in that one. But Ramos is 22. I believe Lubin is 20, see, 27 or older, but he's an older guy. But he I don't know what they were thinking with that fight. That's why you don't really leave it up to the judges because I think Ramos got robbed. But 22-year-old fighter going up against an older fighter and was very kind of reminiscent. I don't know if they did that by design, but reminiscent of when 22-year-old Canelo fought Floyd Mayweather. Very now that I think about it, very reminiscent of that. So yeah, history has a way of repeating itself all these years later. But the main event, Canelo Alvarez versus Jamel Charlo. Now, Charlo daring to be great. First of all, when you dare to be great, you don't do it necessarily with who you fight. You don't dare to be great by necessarily going up two weight classes. You dare to be great by what you do in the ring, by taking a fight to somebody that you might not be able to beat. That's daring to be great. For trying to put somebody out who's dangerous, that's daring to be great. Just getting in the ring and going on survival mode, you're not daring to be great. You're not fighting to win. You're fighting to survive, and that's exactly what Charlo did. I think in the first round, first round is always a feel each other out round. You want to gauge someone's speed, their movements. You want to see if they can, if they're locking into a rhythm. You can time them. How you can get your spacing, your movements. It's basically a chess match. Usually the first round. So, and that's the only round I gave to Charlo because they didn't really do too much in the first round. It's a feel out round. Canelo Alvarez has a tendency to start fight slow. He uses that first round or two or three or feel a fighter out to kind of get a fighter down. He kind of like studies. He's like studies on the fly. That's kind of like what he does, and then he winds up picking you apart later. But Canelo started earlier this fight. I guess the way he trained for this fight, he felt good, looked good, knew he was going in there against a really more naturally smaller guy. I mean, Charlo had a height and reach advantage, and I don't understand. Maybe it's my age or something. I don't understand how fighters don't. What is, especially if you're tall and rangy, what do y'all have against the jab? A jab is especially if you got long arms, you got a reach advantage over someone, a height and reach advantage. A jab is your friend. A jab is everything. A jab is more than just a range finder. A jab could also be punishing jab. A jab, you could knock somebody out with a jab. Larry Holmes made millions of dollars because of a jab. A jab is your friend. Use that shit, especially if your fighter is shorter and doesn't have the reach advantage. You got an advantage. If you got an advantage, you exploit it. It's too dangerous a sport not to exploit your advantages. You better use them tools because Charlo did nothing to show that he was trying to win this fight. I think he just wanted to not get knocked out and take it as a moral victory. But I believe Terrence Bud Crawford was quoted as saying that, he didn't fight to win, he fought to survive, that he should be ashamed of himself. I believe that's Bud was supposedly through sources quoted as saying that. Sounds like something Bud would say. And I can't say he's wrong. Now, I don't know about the you should be ashamed of yourself part. But the other things he said that you fought to survive and you did not fight to win. That was painfully obvious. Should he be ashamed of himself? I wouldn't go that far with it, but I can see why he said it. If you're gonna dare to be great, you can't halfway do it. You got to go all in. Either you didn't really believe in yourself, you were afraid of his power. Sometimes, even with somebody dancing, sometimes you give them too much respect and take yourself out of a fight and not compete. And that's what he did. Charlo was not competitive. Then after the fight, he talked about he want to go down and fight Bud at 154. It's like, and I saw Derek James in the corner. This is something I want to ask y'all. Um, this isn't for me to tell y'all. This is something I want to know. Um, because I believe it was brought up by someone I was watching the fight with. Derek James was in Charlo's corner. Of course, he was his trainer. With the Errol Spence losing to Crawford, and now Jamel Charlo and Spence didn't look his usual self and didn't fight his. He wasn't his usual self. I'm not making no excuses, but he underperformed. That much is not debatable. He underperformed. Now you have Jamel Charlo again. Derek James in his corner, and Jamel Charlo underperforms. Is Derek James? I mean, is it time to point a finger at him and bring him in the question? That his fighters are coming in unprepared for who they're going up against. Whether it's a matter of strategy, physicality, whatever it may be. I mean, this is a question you can give me your answer in the comments. Is Derek James under the microscope here? And is this a because what happened one time, it's an isolated incident. I believe what we're starting to see now is a trend. If it keeps happening, it's a trend. So is Derek James part of the problem? You can let me know what you think in the comments. But that was my take on the Alvarez Charlo fight. It was just the man didn't come to win. The man did not come to win. I don't know what he was trying to do or trying to accomplish, but his objective was to not win the fight. He wasn't listening to Derek James in the corner. Derek James was telling him things, and he's same thing with Spence. Telling him something, he's not doing what he. I don't know. There's a disconnect. And even as a trained fighter with a certain amount of fights under your belt, even if you're not going to listen to your corner because you see something that you could exploit and you go and you do your own thing, there's a reason for it. You're not just surviving, you're trying to win. And it was, I don't know. From what they haven't watched a lot of Charlo's fights, but I was not impressed with him at all. He didn't try to win, and Canelo did enough to win. It's the bottom line. I mean, if you're gonna come to compete. But don't put the gloves on. Um, on to your Philadelphia Eagles. A couple things I want to touch on. We're 4-0 now. 4-0, but we have some problems. Now, with that said, it's good that we're failing forward and winning games against teams we should beat. Again, we ain't playing no powerhouses yet. We're failing forward against teams that we should beat, and we're beating them by the benefit of having just the better roster on both sides of the ball. We just have more talent than the teams that we're facing so far. Now, with that being said, we can't ignore the obvious coaching issues with this team. This coaching staff loves shooting themselves in the foot. This coaching staff loves giving teams opportunities to take the games from us. They love giving the other team opportunities. They don't understand situational football. Let me tell you something. That game should have ended in regulation. You run the ball, you run the clock down. You kick your field goal, you go home. You go home. You send them, you know what I mean, back over to DC with that L in the regulation. You run the ball, you run the clock, force them to use all their timeouts. You run the ball, the clock is your friend in this situation. There's no need to score that touchdown. Give them the ball when your defense in that game can't stop shit. Can't stop Nathan. All right. You couldn't stop a nosebleed. You couldn't stop anything. Sam Howell did whatever he wanted to on that field. And there's a reason for that I'll get into. I got y'all we're about 16 minutes in now. I'm not going to hold y'all long. I did promise that. But there's obvious coaching issues. These coaches don't have a feel for the game. Brian Johnson, our offensive coordinator, does not have a feel for the game. It's like these guys write down the plays they're going to do on dinner napkins on Thursday, and this is what we're going to do, regardless of what the fuck is going on in the game. Regardless of what's going on in the game, these are the plays we're going to do in the first half, and then we'll adapt and adjust at halftime. Come on, man. This is you're taking a college approach in a pros. What are you doing? Situational football, your offense. You have one of the better tight ends in the league, and he's not getting targets. Why? Why? If we had Jason Kelsey, would you give him targets or would you not? I mean, he's probably top five. Dallas Goddard is probably in a lot of people's top five. A lot of commentators or people who really follow sports, probably a top five, top six tight end in the whole National Football League. It's when he catches the ball while he's running, ain't no safeties bringing him down. Linebackers can't catch him. Safeties, he's breaking through those tackles. He's yak. You want yards after the catch, you throw the man the ball, boom, he's breaking. Nose for the end zone. Is trying to get there every time. 4 targets. Why? Why? AJ Brown cries, and now it comes the AJ Brown show. You give Smith a couple, you give Goddard 3 or 4 a game, and what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? We're lucky we're playing the teams we're playing so far. We play the better teams. This formula y'all doing is not working. Y'all need to figure something out because y'all really need to unlock this offense because you are underutilizing the talent on this team. You are underutilizing it. We just do. We're making this. I mean, sometimes the game is checkers. Y'all want to play chess and get too cute. Y'all want to play chess. It's a checkerboard. Checkerboard, red and black. There's no knights. There's no pawns. There's no queens. There's no kings. You're playing chess in a checker game. You play chess in a chess game. You're playing chess in a checker. It's so simple. Life is simple. With a better team, with a bigger team, and you're sitting there and you're getting out coached, and people with less talent, and we're giving them every opportunity to beat us because we're getting out coached on both sides of the ball. How on both sides of the ball, Brother Blaze? I'll tell you. For one, uh, Sam Howell from the Commanders is fifth start. His fifth start in the National Football League. Basically a rookie. This dude is inexperienced. The man is inexperienced. The man hasn't seen a lot of defenses in the NFL yet. You can't confuse this goofball. You can't confuse him. You can't give him something to think about. You just let him dink and duck down the middle of the field and drive 14-yard plays on your defense. You Sam Howell? He played just as well as Jalen Hurts. Why do we take mediocre quarterbacks and make them great? I'll tell you why. Because our coaching staff is so scared. We're all mind you, supposedly we're supposed to have these great corners. We're supposed to have a good secondary and a good defensive line. So our safety, we're so afraid of the deep ball and the big play that our cornerbacks stand 10, 15 yards away from the receivers, which means that they break off the line clean. And we got a good defensive line. So how do you beat pressure? How do you beat the blitz? You get the ball out of their hands quickly. And what do the Eagles do? We make it easy for Sam Howell to get rid of the ball by basically putting our corners damn near at the end zone. And he can just boop, quick slant, boop, or build the field wide open, boop, boop, boop. Because there's no pressure. We're not jamming the receivers at the line. We're not taking them off where you could take them off their routes, alter their routes, to interfere with their time. And even if you are going to play back, line up in front of them at first. Move some people around. Give this dude some different looks. Make him think he's ready to make mistakes. All we got to do is give him a reason. The way we play defense made it easy for him. It makes it easy for all these quarterbacks. And when we start playing the elite quarterbacks, they're going to rip us apart because we play scared. You can't be aggressive and passive at the same time. It's called lukewarm. And that's why these average Joe Blow quarterbacks put up 300 something yards on us. Yeah, we'll win a game with Sam Howell like that. But when you go up against Josh Allen, when you go up against Mahomes, when you go up against these other quarterbacks with better defenses that can make us pay for these silly, goofy, goofball mistakes that we keep making because we think we're too cute. We think we're smarter than everybody else. We need to get it together. We need to get it together. The defense, disguise the defense or something. Give them something to look. That soft coverage, you're giving these receivers too much cushion. Average quarterbacks and average receivers have field days on us because we play soft. And you mean to tell me y'all not catching on? And I think, and before I point the finger at Sean Desai, the defensive coordinator, because his defense played a hell of a game last week. This week, I don't know how much control Sean Desai really has, to be honest with you, because I think Nick Sirianni has a way. Because remember, he was a cornerback guy. Yeah, Nick Sirianni is a secondary guy. So everything he wants on the defense is to protect the secondary. That's why it comes at the expense of the linebackers. The corners, you don't want the corners beat. So yeah, you put these guys back. We're playing prevent defense all game. Move them up. Move them up. Take somebody off the routes. Jam them at the line. The quarterback can't get rid of the ball quickly. Now he has to think of something else. This is not brain surgery. Stop giving people things, giving them third and man. That's why they wind up on third and manageable so often. Come on, you can't play defense like that, and we're not going to keep winning playing this way. It's just a matter of time before it. Come on now, stop making it too. Don't make it easy for them. Don't make it easy for them. We're letting teams hang around that we should be putting away, man. Y'all need to knock that off. And another thing, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Kenneth Gainwell, running back for the Philadelphia Eagles. Why? Why? What is the obsession? Help me understand. If somebody in the comments could help me understand, I would appreciate it a great deal. What is the obsession with Kenny Gainwell? Why you keep giving these bonehead plays to Kenneth Gainwell? Either you people can't evaluate talent, or you don't know what to do with the talent you have. I'm beginning to think it's both. Because if you don't see a difference in talent from DeAndre Swift and Kenneth Gainwell, something's wrong with you. Something is seriously wrong with you. Kenneth Gainwell, when he give the ball to Swift. Give Swift the ball. There's no reason. Listen to me. I'm saying this because I want the best for this squad. There's no reason at all that Kenneth Gainwell should be on the field for a whole series. None. Zero. Zilch. No reason he should be on the field for a whole entire series. None. DeAndre Swift should be on the field. Rashad Penny should be on the field. Rashad Penny is who you want to hand the ball to in short yardage situations, not Kenneth Gainwell. DeAndre Swift and a healthy Rashad Penny are both better running backs than Kenneth Gainwell. Do I have to say this again for people in the back? I don't care how well he knows the playbook. I don't want to hear no coach's decision. I don't care. There's no reason, none, that he should be getting. I'm not saying don't give him no carries. I like Kenneth Gainwell as a running back. He's just not the man. He's not that dude. He's not him. That's what they're saying now. He's not him. DeAndre Swift is him. We're not missing Miles Sanders because of DeAndre Swift, not Kenneth Gainwell. If you were so confident in Kenneth Gainwell, you wouldn't have traded for DeAndre Swift. Now, come on, stop playing games with me. Stop playing games. You know who the workhorse is. You know who your beasts are. All right? This is not who you like. It's who you need. Because you're going to lose some games behind Kenneth Gainwell. You're going to win some games by giving the ball to DeAndre Swift. Somebody we haven't seen somebody run like this since LaShawn McCoy. You can't even put LaShawn McCoy and Kenneth Gainwell in the same sentence. You come on, man. Y'all gotta do better. Y'all gotta do better. You're doing enough to win now, but this is not a smart strategy going forward. Getting into the hardest schedule. We got the hardest schedule in the NFL, and we're coming into we're about to go through the gauntlet here. We're going through the gauntlet. And this coaching staff is going to be the reason we lose some games that we should win. We're going to lose some games when we have more talented players, and we're going to lose games because we're going to get out-coached. It's the coaching that's making these games close. It's not even really the players. It's the players that they're putting on the field, like Kenneth Gainwell, when there's better options. It's the decisions that they're making that's basically they're trying to hand the game over to the other team, giving them every opportunity to be successful instead of taking those opportunities away from them. Y'all, come on, man. Y'all making this way too hard on yourselves. Way too hard. Way too hard. And how about some how about we work on some, instead of working on getting more carries for AJ, getting more targets for AJ Brown, how about we work on pass protection? How about we do that? If you want to keep your quarterback healthy, instead of having him doing that crazy looking slide you got him doing, and he looks like he don't even want to do it, and then it looks crazy as all hell. Instead of worrying about things like that, you need to be worried about pass protection. Oh man, it's going to stop being fun when the rabbit got the gun. Y'all gotta start learning. Y'all gotta start learning some things, man. These coordinators are gonna have to learn situational football. Stop playing games. Stop being cute. Stop doing what you did last year. Stop trying to do it. This is not. God, we're not going into 2023. We're gonna be going into 2024. Okay, your team is different. Stop doing the same shit. You gotta play to your strengths, and our strengths are different than they were. Stop playing those corner. You're not playing your cornerbacks 10 yards off the line. Move them up. Show these quarterbacks something different. Disguise some defenses. Mix it up some. Show some creativity. And like I said, I don't really point the finger at Sean Desai yet because he's doing what he's told. More, I think he may be doing what he's told instead of what he wants to do. Nick Sirianni is a secondary guy. So everything with him is protect the secondary. So he's probably telling them, basically, are you telling him, you want to protect the deep ball. The deep ball. It's not the deep ball that's killing you. It's not the deep ball that's killing you. It's mediocre quarterbacks going on 14, 15 play drives and scoring touchdowns and you can't stop it. That's what's killing. Quarterbacks like Sam Howell, Kirk Cousins, Mr. Mr. Can't play under the bright lights. And who else? The only time you really stood up with it was Baker Mayfield because you did the things you needed to do to confuse Baker Mayfield so Baker Mayfield could go back to being Baker Mayfield and make mistakes. But you couldn't do that with Sam Howell. I gotta knock it off. Sometimes winning. Sometimes when you come out of there with a win, teams tend to not learn the lesson. They start getting a little cocky, start smelling themselves a little bit, and start thinking that the things you're doing are formulas for success. We're setting ourselves up for failure if we believe that. That's what I'm saying. You have an opportunity. You have an opportunity to make this a real great season, but come on now. Got to clean up these mistakes instead of thinking these are the things that are winning your games. These are the things that are you're almost. I mean, some luck is involved here. We've been lucky. We've been lucky. That luck is going to run out quickly, especially with these other defensive. When we go up against these other coordinators, better coaches with better talent, it's going to get ugly for us real quick. And we're going to be scratching our heads, wondering what happened, what went wrong when it's so obvious. We could avoid ourselves some unnecessary heartache and headache. And hold peace. I would love to be at a press conference, and not even the players. I can't really knock the players. I would like to ask these coaches some questions on the air and phrase the questions in a way to where if they make them uncomfortable. I'd like to make them uncomfortable. They don't really have to really stand on that. And Philly sports media is protective of it. They don't unless they're really doing bad, they're not going to call people out on certain things like this. But they need to be questioned on what they're doing and why, even if we're 4-0. I mean, if there's it's because we're winning don't mean we're good. Well, we got the talent. These coaches are going to get in the way of us doing something special. These coaches are going to get in the way of us having the level of success that we want. But the Rams are next, and our defense will be tested by the offense of the Rams. Are we going to clean these things up? Are we going to give them some things to think about? Are we going to play aggressive? Are we going to play aggressive and force them into making mistakes? Or are we going to play passive, give them what they want, and just hope we outscore everybody? It seems to be the coach's rationale. Yeah, just go ahead, let them do what they want. We'll just, once we score more points, we're okay. Checkers on a chessboard. It needs to stop. But I said I would make this brief, and of course I'm long-winded. So 35 minutes with family. So it's time well spent. Look, enjoy the rest of the game tonight, and Rams next week. I will be talking to you all tomorrow about what? Not sure yet. So Watch for the notifications. Subscribe, follow, and not sure what I'm going to talk about tomorrow, but I will be running my mouth about something. So, hey, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, take no one or nothing for granted. And as I leave y'all every time, this is going to be our parting theme here. If you're not doing what you love, then what the foof are you doing? Robert Brother Blaze Murray, peace, y'all. See y'all next day.